In this video, I'll guide you step by step through knitting this basic V-neck sweater on a knitting machine. Whether you're just starting out or looking to expand your knitting skills, this is a perfect garment for you. I have my pattern created. I'm going to share the link to it in the description. And we're starting out by casting on 124 stitches on the main bed. So I want the hem to be a ribbed hem, but since I don't have a ribber comb right now, I'm casting on my main bed 124 stitches. That's 62 stitches to the right and 62 stitches to the left. And so I've knit across my needles and put my comb and my claw weights on and knit about 4 rows. So I have some fabric weighting down my needles. Then I'm going to take off my sinker plate and put my connecting arm, my ribber connecting plate on, put my yarn into that, and then connect my ribber. So here I'm bringing my ribber carriage across and making sure it's connected. And I want to just align my needles. So I'm pushing in my skip stitch buttons and knitting across. And then I'm going to bring up the ribbon needles. I'm bringing them up in a 1 by 1 arrangement because it's a 1 by 1 rib. So every other needle is at A and every other needle is at B. And then I'm going to transfer every other stitch on my main bed to my ribber needles. So I'm speeding it up so I don't take all your time with this video, but basically you want to arrange your ribber needles so that they're in between your main bed needles, and then you have one stitch on your main bed and one stitch on the ribber. And now I'm going to knit my rib stitches, my rib rows. I need 40 rows for my rib. It's actually 20 rows long, but because I'm folding my rib, I'm going to knit 40 rows. So I have 2 layers of rib fabric. Now that that's done, I'm transferring all my rib stitches back to the main bed needles and taking my ribber down. And here's my fabric. Fold that in two, and I'm going to put my main bed needles through the hem, through the edge of my fabric like this. You can also use your transfer tool. That's another way to make it easy to pull the main bed stitches through the edge of your knit fabric. Next, I'm going to flip my comb. I want to keep it on my rib fabric, so I'm just going to gently flip it over my needles and hang it on my rib fabric, and then put my claw weights on my comb. And I'm going to line up my needles and take my connecting arm off and put my sinker plate on. And I'm going to knit 3 rows across my rib to join the edges and have a bit of knitting on top of the ribbed edge. I'm going to take off my ribber so you can see my knitting better. And once I've done that, I'm going to set up my machine for the pattern knitting. I'm using a 940, so I turn on my knitting machine and then I select the pattern number that I want to knit and follow the steps to begin pattern knitting. Once I've set up the pattern, I turn my change knob to pattern knitting on my carriage, put my carriage in from the right edge and put my yarn in. And when I knit this first row across my bed, my needles for the pattern are selected to the position. This is a fair isle pattern, so it needs 2 colors, a main color, which is black, and a second color. So I'm going to put my second color in and put that through the secondary yarn feeder in my sinker plate. And then I'm going to push in my Fair Isle button on my carriage, and I'm ready to begin knitting the pattern. I'm going to knit 100 rows from the rib to the armhole in this stitch pattern. And once I get to 100 rows, then I will begin armhole shaping. I'm going to speed up the video until I get to 100 rows and then show you how to shape the armhole. thread of my knitting, and at this point I should begin armhole shaping. My armhole shaping instructions are as follows. I'm reducing 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 stitches every 2 rows. So I'm going to first start with reducing 6 stitches on each side of my work and then knitting 2 rows. Because my carriage is on the left, I'm going to start reducing from the left side of my knitting. And because I have 2 strands of yarn, I'm going to be binding off stitches that have the blue with the blue yarn and the ones that have black with the black yarn. So I've bound off one. Here's the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Knit 1 row across to the other side and then bind off 6 stitches on that side too. Knit 1 row back, that completes 2 rows, then reduce 5 stitches here, knit 1 row across, reduce 5 stitches on the right, and continue reducing like this until I have bound off 2 stitches on either side of my work. Right now I'm at this point here. I just finished reducing 2 stitches and knit 2 rows, and I'm on the final step of armhole shaping. I'm going to reduce 1 stitch and knit 2 rows. I'm going to use my transfer tool for that. Transfer 1 stitch over on both sides of my work. And now I'm going to knit 2 rows, and then I'm going to knit an additional 8 rows to get to front neckline shaping. So my row counter shows that I've knit a total of 120 rows, and let me zoom in on that so I can show you guys what that's like. So I've got 120 on my row counter, and so right now I'm here at this point in my work. I've knit 100 rows to get to the armhole, and I've done the armhole shaping, and I've knit 20 rows, and I'm here at the point where we begin the neckline shaping. And I will show you how to knit the V-neck shaping and the shoulder shaping in the next part, so follow for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share.